Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh my god,
Oh no.
Hello. Oh, are you okay? You good?
Good. You need to stop making that joke. That's
morning.
really bad.
I did not say
Every
that you
time...
had corona.
Oh, I
Although,
thought you
let
did.
me start off by saying I thought my friend died yesterday. I was supposed to get, this is a great warm-up to this podcast because today we're talking about traveling and, well, I guess you can see by the title, and who you're traveling with. Guess what? I was supposed to go on a 3-day weekend with someone this weekend.
Yeah.
This person didn't reply to my text. He's not replied since like Sunday.
Yeah.
I legit was like, who would do this? Who would plan out a whole weekend? We designated the time. He was like, this is the time we're leaving. And then he was like, I will book the Airbnb. We hadn't talked about it since. We said we were going to meet up in the week. Nothing. No. And I wasn't going to reach out to him because I was busy too. Like, it didn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
But then yesterday night, I was like, oh my god, I think this person actually might be dead. Like, we are living in a pandemic. I literally Googled his obituary.
Oh, that's the most millennial thing I've ever heard anyone do. Like, rather than just text him the second time, you literally look for an obituary, and hopefully that'll explain why he hasn't texted back. No, that's like, you could have just picked up the phone and given him a call.
No, I totally could have, and if I were in the 60s, I would have. But I'm in 2020.
And
there's a whole code, okay? You can't just text
an explanation for not texting back. Oh, so did he reply?
He finally replied. Turns out he was just busy. Not dead.
You're an idiot.
Oh my god.
Amazing. Amazing.
Well, also my rationale was like, he already doesn't reply very well, and if he's dead, he's definitely not going to reply. So I went to his Facebook page to see. Did you know 25% or something crazy like that of people on Facebook are passed away?
That's horrible.
I know.
No.
Would you like to keep
topic
yours?
That I don't think we should go down. I was about to
Come
say,
on, I was going to say,
any dead friends on Facebook? But that's just a horrible question.
I do. But would you want to keep your Facebook open? I think after you die is the question here.
I don't put anything on my Facebook anyway. Like, I want to delete it now anyway. You're literally the only person I know that uses their Facebook in the conventional way.
Honestly, I know.
No, genuinely.
Really. Well, sometimes I post.
You're like, honestly.
I post some stuff on there about like things, and I look at it later, and no one has interacted with it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to delete this.
Delete. Do people that you know post on Facebook like you do though?
I post on Facebook because, well, I do post on Facebook. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest. But no one does. And also, it's connected to my Instagram as well, so I post like doubly over.
Because we were talking the other day and we were like, maybe it's just an American thing, because my boyfriend was like, oh, Edwina posts is one of the only people I know that posts on
American
Facebook.
Thing. It's the thing that losers do.
That's so funny. I was literally like, yeah, it's definitely an American thing.
yeah.
As someone with an American friend, I can tell you. But I know all things American.
Did you know that you can put your Facebook in control? You can give it to someone so they can have control if you pass away.
I mean, this is
I would like control
to admit on a podcast, but I'm sure you probably could easily gain control of my my Facebook, because all of my passwords are the same.
Oh, great. And we've shared Google Docs with passwords on them, so I'll look into those.
I feel like after we've admitted this on a podcast, it'll now be very easy to hack.
No one will ever guess that our password is...
No one wants to hack into Au Pair Paris. We give away the Instagram, like...
Yep, 20,000 au pairs have the Instagram password.
Yeah, exactly. Password, that's it, yeah. Anyway,
to all the cyber security people who are about to hack us.
Leave us alone.
Weekly wrap. What did you want to say?
I was about to say, last week I played this podcast to my boyfriend, just the beginning, and he was like, oh, weekly wrap, like wrap up of what you've done. I thought it was going to be like an actual rap, Like we were meant to spontaneously. Yeah. You genuinely thought that. So
I can rap.
weekly rap. I can't rap. I was like about to launch into it and I was like, I cannot rap.
I can't rap, everybody.
Yeah, but
Don't
you
make me rap.
I can't do it on the spot. What's my weekly rap? God, I don't even know. I feel like it's been a lot of APOP stuff. We've got so much content going
this
up.
week. Oh,
crazy levels of content.
Show you my calendar.
So that really, it's been really horrible weather in the UK, so I've been inside a lot. But I did go for a run this morning, so well done me.
You did?
Yes.
Good for you.
I feel like you've got a much more interesting weekly wrap after seeing your Instagram post about dating.
Oh my dear Lord. Let's show the people what they want to see, am I right? That only went up to my close friends. But basically,
yeah, that's why I kind of like hinted at it, but I wasn't sure if you were going to talk about it on a podcast.
I'm on dating apps. You know me. I don't hide anything. I was going to come onto this podcast with
unfortunately. Classic.
And so I'm not afraid of like asking guys out for dates. I'm like, let's go out for an ice cream. Like, I'm new to this town. I love meeting people, whatever. So last night I was like, well, if this guy that I'm supposed to go on this weekend with is dead, might as well make plans.
Oh my God.
So
I've already buried him. He's already long gone. Next day.
I need to see a therapist.
You need help, professional help.
And so I reached out to this guy on Bumble and I was like, hey, let's go out for an ice cream later today. My evening plans just got canceled. Well, whatever. I said whatever. And then I was like, I love meeting new people. And then he was like, we had been talking a little bit. I don't talk too much on the apps because I just like to go and meet people right away. And he was like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let me first check in with my wife and I'll let you know.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What have I stumbled into?
Then I had to reply and be like, wait, did not read your profile. So sorry. I am definitely not interested. Totally respect it.
Do you, just don't do me.
Oh my God.
I love that. I love the like emojis that you use though in that last text where it's just like hundreds of like oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
So funny. So is that your weekly wrap?
That was my weekly wrap pretty much. I've been meeting a lot of people and then I've just been meeting a lot of people. A lot of men, a lot of women, a lot of non-gendered people, lots of people. And training weekly, like I've been in my other job, just had so much training. I'm so over being on Zoom sometimes, unless it's the little veins.
We never talk on Zoom though. We always use FaceTime usually.
Yeah, I mean that'd be pretty weird if we were constantly talking on Zoom.
Come to my Zoom meeting.
You want to come to the my personal meeting room? Here's my code.
I love how you always call it a personal meeting room or a meeting room. Like I don't know.
That's what it's called in the Zoom world.
But it's just like that's not how I hear people say it. Anyway, should we get on with it?
Yeah, considering I have actual work in 25 minutes.
Yeah, we'll just chat and laugh and chat.
All right. Okay. So the topic today is traveling with someone. How do you know someone's gonna be a good traveler? What do you look out for? Times you've made mistakes. I'm ready to hear what you're gonna bring to the table today because I know you did so much prep work for this podcast.
I was so tired yesterday when Edwina and I were talking about what the podcast was going to be. So when I woke up this morning, I was like, I know it's something about travel. I've forgotten what.
The whole season's about travel. That's so stupid.
I know. Wait, last season wasn't. Last episode
Last season?
Last episode was about friendship. So today I was like, it's travel. But I don't know what it's going to be. And then because Edwina's like, how many hours are you behind? 8 hours behind. I texted her being like, what was the topic? And then she woke up like, an hour ago and was like, this is the topic. And by that time we were already talking on Skype.
I was in that bed an hour ago, dreaming.
So, prepared podcasting. That's the way.
It's the way to go. I'm ready. Do you want me to go first?
Obviously, then I'll bounce off whatever you have. Yes, to add to that point, maybe I'll make some notes now.
Okay. So in terms of traveling, didn't I give that to you?
You did, but only because you didn't want it. But I use it all the time now.
It has dogs on it. Okay, so first point. How do you know someone is a good travel partner? What do you look out for? I personally look out for money and spending habits. That is like probably my number one go-to. I definitely have to make exceptions to this rule because like sometimes people invite you on trips and you want to go and things. But I think like in terms of long-term travel, I'll probably go with someone for a weekend for that long because I can like budget out a couple of days. But for a long-term thing, like you and I spent 7 weeks traveling around Asia, you know, Southeast Asia, whatever it was, and I would have never survived had we not had the same spending habits. Like I would have never survived.
And we also already knew that about each other before we like went traveling because we'd spent so much time together in Paris, like being like, should we go to a cafe? And then being like, no, I think we should just sit on the floor outside. Should we stand over this warm grate?
literally been like houseless in Paris before and just like hung out on the streets at all hours of the night.
There's nothing worse though than going away with someone who either has more money than you or spends a lot more money than you. Like one of my boyfriend's friends has a lot of money, and whenever I've been on short trips with him, we'll come away and we'll like tot up how much money we've spent, and sometimes it's like £400 in a weekend. I think it was £300-400 in a weekend, and he'd paid for most of the expensive things. So I just had to like take that hit and like I enjoyed the weekend. It was like beautiful and really fun and funny and just nice. But when we were going away from a much longer period of time, yeah, you have to like really know that you're on the same budget. And one of the best things to do in that regard is draw out a budget, I think, together, which we've never done because we always know we want to keep it as low as possible.
We did that.
Have we? We did, didn't we, the first time? But we didn't in Norway.
Yeah, actually, funny story.
What? Oh God.
Don't you remember I drew out the budget. We were like $1,000, whatever.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the trip, I was like, shit, I am so over budget. And you're like, really? I'm so under budget. And then like I was saying $1,000 in dollars and you're saying $1,000 in pounds.
Yeah. Oh, good old pound.
Because we had it on a spreadsheet, I think, didn't we? We did.
But we just had like the numbers rather than like.
No, we had it in euros. Right. I don't know. It was really silly. But
either way, we were being dumb. So figure out your currency and then figure out your budget. Yeah. We can sometimes though, I think because we're both savers and like we're both like careful with money, we can sometimes like prevent ourselves, is that the right word, like stop ourselves from doing things that would have had a better time, I think sometimes. So sometimes I think you need like to find a travel buddy who, even if they spend a lot of money, is willing to compromise. Not just like, if you have two savers, then sometimes we won't do fun things, but if you have two spenders, you spend too much money. So if you go away with someone who's like the opposite of you, you have to find the middle ground. Does that make sense? Because like, for instance, when we went to like Angkor Wat, I always think like we could have made that probably nicer by like hiring bikes, like I don't know, just like little things we could have, but we were just a bit like,
we were
it's too hot, we were miserable.
Of us putting ourselves through misery just to save a buck, you know?
Sleeping in airports, like,
oh gosh,
for example.
The airports we've slept in.
We slept in so many airports just to save like $20, like not even that much. But yeah, I mean, that's probably how we managed to travel for so long. So it's not a complaint. Like we did it for reasons, but there are things that you can do. Like for instance, that boat ride in Norway, that was worth the money for me.
That was fun. That was fun. I didn't get sick or too badly at least. And I'm trying to think now of trips that I've gone on with people who definitely spend more money than me, and if it made it like really hard. And nothing longer than like a weekend or 5 days, and I knew I was going into it with that mentality, so that's okay. But I did have to say no to going to like a bachelorette party because I just knew that it was out of my budget and I didn't want to. And like, it's also a bachelorette party. Not only are you spending money there, but you're also splurging on the bride. And this bride is like my best friend, like, sorry, one of my closest friends.
My number one best friend.
Humping off. What the heck am I saying?
Oh my God, you can tell us earlier.
What am I saying? Back. What is this freaking
jumping off?
Jumping up? No, like. Like backpacking on the idea that I expressed in this previous podcast. If you've not listened to it, we did not talk about humping.
However, if anyone watched our live Q&A yesterday,
we talked about pegging by accident.
Do not accidentally talked about pegging for anyone that needed that translated.
Honestly, if you're not in the lives, you're not in the party, you're missing out. Anyway. Did you make a point? So yeah, I have got a point. Yeah, I'm very, very cautious about money. And I say no if I think that we're not going to be, because I don't want to put that strain on our friendship relationship.
And it is a strain.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You don't want to be the one that feels like, oh, I'm stopping us from doing the fun things. Yeah, exactly. But then you also don't want to be the one that feels like they're spending all of their friends' money. Yeah. My point is humping off the back of
What is a phrase? I swear it's a phrase.
I know what you mean, but I can't remember either. Which is the vibe of the person. So like, what do they want to do? Like, I'm sure you've got some friends that are like very highly strung, or you've got other friends that are like too chill. Like, what is your vibe? It's quite hard to judge your own vibe and then like figure out, will we clash? Will I want to go to coffee shops constantly? Or do I want to go and have like alone time? Because that's something that neither one of us wants. We don't want any alone time.
I love that about our friendship. Codependency.
So healthy.
It's so
great. But like, if you were just like, oh, I think I'm gonna like take today on my own, I'd be like, fine, but it would definitely reduce my enjoyment of the place, which is so
totally.
I mean,
I'd much rather be mad with you than like mad apart, for sure. Absolutely. There are certain friends though that I would rather be mad on my own though.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't travel with them, presumably, because if you've fallen. But I'm not even talking about mad. I'm just talking about like in general, like it. Like I know a lot of people, and someone that I did go traveling with, we got on really well, and it was fine. But she liked to take like full days on her own to go meet people. Yeah. So I would go to like cafes to do work on my own. I was working, she wasn't.
But I think it would be a bit like that way. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I kind of disagree a little bit. Like it's funny to say. What's that face?
Yeah, I disagree.
No, I agree because like, but you wouldn't guess my vibe if you. I have friends that I want to travel with that would never guess the type of traveler I am, because like we're working all the time. I love what we do, and I'm always on my computer, and I always love to be on my computer. I was actually telling this to the kid that I was supposed to be traveling with this weekend. Like when I travel, I just love spending every single minute on my laptop. I'm really selling myself as a travel buddy.
That's probably why he just ghosted you.
That's probably why he canceled, actually.
I want to like swim in the ocean and like dance in the moonlight. And you're like, where's my laptop?
Here. He probably isn't busy.
My phone?
He probably doesn't want to travel with me.
He's probably a perfect guest for this podcast.
God, he probably is. I mean, he podcasts himself, but his podcast is very, very serious.
Oh, excuse me. This one is very serious. This is useful advice. What is your point? Get back on track.
Okay. No, but I don't think you would guess my vibe from my personality, because you probably assume that I love to do like all the things, and I like love to travel, and I like just have so much energy and all that stuff, which is true in some regard, but I'm also very like money oriented and don't want to spend too much, and like I do love experiences, but I don't like to pay for like tours and things like that. Like I'd rather explore on my own and discover on my own. Something that you and I did traveling which was so fun, that we try to do when we travel. We didn't do such a great job in Norway. I I don't know anything about Norway still. But we would have a historical meal, and we would sit down and be like, okay, let's pull out our phones and do research and teach each other things about the place that we're at. And I thought that was a great free way to actually have a conversation about what's going on around us. That was how we found out that Thailand was like sold. But then the person that was supposed to interpret that message or something, or no, declare war, and then the person that was supposed to deliver the message of Thailand declaring war was like, no, they didn't. They're happy. They didn't say anything bad.
No. You got it wrong. Doesn't that word mean war in Thai? No, it means love.
It means peace.
I feel like that is so us though, that we've got like a half-baked story. We don't know the full details. Like I would say I learned more about Norway because we inadvertently, whatever the word is, sat down with a Norwegian person.
Oh, that's true.
We were staying with someone and she was telling us all about like the royal family and like that kind of thing.
Well, that's why I'm totally,
but no, I do love doing that.
Couch surfing is hard. But like couch surfing, you learn. I was gonna say, in terms of traveling cheap, like couch surfing is hard because it's just like you have to expend energy to like meet the locals. But it's such a good way to get to know a place. And like Airbnb, staying with someone is such a good way to know a place. Like that is how I prefer to travel, or I used to. I'm getting a little bit bougier now as I grow up. But yeah, I just don't like to spend. In terms of my vibe, I agree in that you have to like find a person that is your vibe, or at least willing to compromise and find a happy ground. And like. Also, with me and my roommate, who's like a really good friend of mine, Juliana, when we travel together and when I've come to visit her, we actually have set times where we're both kind of separate. We're working, we're doing our own thing, and then we come back and spend a lot of time together. But we do have like our separate moments. And I really like traveling that way because she's not a computer person, and usually during those separate moments, I'm working or something. So I think it could work out, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it did work out when I did it. I just think like, if it was going to be like, if I was going to work as much as we worked in Norway and I was with someone that wasn't working, that would be hard. But yeah, that's true. Fine. Scrap my point.
It's a good point. Vibes.
I was about to say though about couch surfing versus bougie hotel life. That's vibe-esque, like a point under vibes. For example,
make that another point.
I always think that I don't want to couch surf, and I'm always like, I hate it. Well, I don't hate it, but like,
did we explain what couch surfing is in case people don't know?
Go ahead.
I was gonna do this, like a mic bit, and then I realized there's a gigantic mic in front of my face.
Let me tell you. Oh wait.
Okay, so couch surfing basically is this community, and it's either your thing or it's not, and it's like. Basically, you're supposed to like give as much as you take, but that doesn't really happen. And you basically, if you have an extra room or an extra couch, you put yourself on the couch surfing community and you make a profile and they're like, hey, if there's anyone visiting my city and needs a place to crash, like I'm offering this to you. And you usually like spend the time with your host, but your host also is very understanding of you being out, and you're basically using their house as your house for a temporary period. And it's a very, very trusting community. And when I say it and describe it, it sounds outrageous, but it really works until you're in New Orleans and the guy that you're staying at is really creepy. like us.
I forgot about him. Jeez.
I think my memory.
Yeah,
but
he
does
just
really
like
work out.
accidentally showed me
out.
a naked picture of himself. Yeah. And his dog had fleas.
I should probably just take this part of the podcast out. I don't want to scare people because it actually.
Oh no, that's what I was about to say though. Couch surfing, I always think I don't want to couch surf. I don't want to do it. It sounds really weird. What if we stay with a weirdo? Like, what if they're a creep? Yada yada. And I would say even the guy that showed me the naked picture of himself, I didn't once feel unsafe.
Yeah,
like he was a bit weird, but he wasn't like creepy or horrible or anything. And I think it's always the best experience I have and the most memorable. Like the most memorable times come from meeting a local, staying with them, learning about their city from them, being shown around by them. Like I've stayed with some right weird people that I would never have met otherwise. Like I'm now best friends with. No, I don't think I'm in touch with anyone. Oh, there's the one guy who from Charleston.
Oh, that guy.
Oh yeah, you love him. He loved you.
We have so many couch surfing characters.
What's annoying about couch surfing sometimes is like when they clearly have a favorite, and out of us too, like,
dude.
And like the guy, what's his name? The guy in Vietnam, he loved Edwina, and he thought she was so cool because he loved
Asian.
America.
Oh,
no, but it's the American thing.
He loved Asians.
Nope.
He had a fetish. He was Asian himself. I think we only do within our own country, culture. No, funny thing. I went couch surfing when I was driving. Another thing for APOP, I was at a competition pitch thing. I drove from North Carolina to St. Louis, and I couch surfed while I was there with this woman, and she was super, super nice. And now we keep in touch, and she wants me to call her this week to update. So you make the best of friends.
Mm. But if you're traveling with someone, I mean, I'm the one that's usually moaning about couch surfing, and then when I arrive, I'm like, oh, I love it so much. But if you're traveling with someone who will only stay in hotels, like hotels, not even hostels, you're not going to have the same experience as if you stayed in a hostel, stayed in a couch surfing, met someone, like a friend of a friend. Like, it's very different. You see a very different side of cities and like countryside or everywhere. Yeah. So that goes under vibe. Well done,
vibes. And sometimes it totally just, good job, Hans. Good job. Sometimes it really just goes on like what you are looking for, and what, like, sometimes I have more energy than others. And I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but like basically, sometimes I just don't have the energy to stay at a person's house. Okay, let me just give you what I'm thinking of. So basically, for this long weekend that I'm supposed to have this weekend.
Oh God, here we go with the dead man.
It's like word vomit with the dead man.
Edwina and a new obsession with boys.
Do you want to stay? Shut up. Do you want to stay in an Airbnb, or do you want to stay in a house? Because he knows a bunch of people in this city with friends. And I brought up the point of like, it's not that I'm introverted, but spending 3 days with people in a house that I'm just meeting would feel like a lot to me. So I opted for like the Airbnb option because I love meeting people, but when the person that I'm with also knows all those people, I really want to give off a good impression to just like anyone that I meet. And so I didn't feel like that was going to be an ideal situation. But I don't know.
That's so different, though.
If you're the only person who's new, I don't think it works.
Yeah.
But if you and I are meeting all these new people, then that'd be fine.
Yeah. And this isn't like traveling in the same way. Like, you know everything there is to know about your own culture. Like, it comes down to...
You would be surprised.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you need to meet these people in order to learn about something. Like, what are you going to gain from it? You're just going to be exhausted.
All right, so my second point was going to be activities. So I think we kind of like went over that. I have last point. It's a good kind of wrap up. Do you have any other points?
Oh, I got one. It's a quick one. Light packer versus heavy packer.
Dude, I love this point. This is a great point.
Yeah. Edwina and I are awful light packers.
We will bring one pair of underwear and clothes for 7 weeks.
Basically, every picture I look at of myself of last year, I'm wearing one orange stripy t-shirt, and I loved that t-shirt. And now every single picture, I'm like, can I Photoshop that t-shirt into something else?
You know it's bad when people in your life are like, oh yeah, I always see you in that. I'm like, what do you mean you always see me in that? Oh God.
No, but that's the thing. We need to become more, we should be advocates for the outfit repeating, because it's fast fashion is killing the planet.
The same outfit every single day. Like, who cares? And it saves you laundry. Like, it's so good. I don't really understand why people are so weird about it. Like, I get people who love fashion and like want to change their clothes all the time, but like, I have an outfit that works, so I'll make it work every single day for 5 or 7 days.
Every single day, every single occasion.
Yeah.
T-shirts to the Ritz.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say, like, the reason that's important though in a travel partner is because, like, I mean, aside from like how long are they going to take to get ready in the morning versus you, it's just like a case of, can you fit your tiny, like we had small backpacks like that basically meant we could just run and jump on a bus. If you have like 6
things,
what are they called?
Pieces of
what
luggage.
are they called? Yeah. Rolly
Luggage
things.
Oh,
what's it called?
Carry-ons.
No. Anyway, suitcases. Oh
my gosh, what's wrong with us? We couldn't think of the word suitcase.
Useless. Then that would be so annoying. But I haven't seen many backpackers that are carrying like loads of suitcases, so that sounds like a snobby point.
Backpackers, no, but like backpackers, that would have been interesting. Just going on a weekend trip with friends, because I feel like if you're backpackers, you're on the same understanding wavelength of pack light, obviously, otherwise you're going to be tortured. But like for a weekend trip with your friends, particularly like friends that you know from like this city, and then you're going away from the city, it is always interesting to see. I remember one of my friends brought a whole suitcase full of freaking hats. I was like, what the hell?
Hats?
Yeah, she just
wow.
It was so much of that thing of like, we were in France and she was trying to be like very, very, well, she's very fashionable as a person. But like for some reason people get the, when you're on vacation, like vibe of, I'm going to be the most fashionable person on this vacation at this luxury hotel.
We are just not that. And I feel like we should up our game
ugly.
a little bit more for Instagram.
That's why I'm single.
What?
For Instagram. Because I literally don't give a shit. Like literally no shites. What a poop!
I don't think that's why. I think it's the other things.
Oh, what is that? Crying.
Oh, you look so sad then. Okay. What's your last point?
Sorry. My last point is sometimes you take all these things that you are looking for in a travel partner and you completely throw them out the window because sometimes you just don't know. And sometimes the only way to know is to just freaking do it and figure it out and see what happens. Like, I will tell you firsthand, last year or 2 years ago, I was dating someone and we were like, let's take a trip somewhere in the States. And so we decided to come to Portland, where I live now, for like a 4-day weekend. And I didn't know this person very well. Like, I knew them well because we were dating, but like in terms of like traveling or anything, they made a lot more money than me. We were visiting his friends here and staying at their house. Literally every point that I made in this podcast was ixnayed in this scenario. And it was totally fun and totally worth it, and I loved every minute of it. What happened after in the relationship was another story, but the trip was fantastic. And sometimes you don't know until you do it, and sometimes, you know, these aren't hard, fast rules.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I think the last thing I would add to that is like, so long as you realize, especially if you're going on a long trip, you realize that you're gonna probably fall out and you are like determined to resolve it, then it'll be fine. Like, you can get over a lot of things by being forgiving and apologizing, basically. Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck. Abrupt
I'd say
travel
with people is fine. Starting a business with people,
different story. Gosh, I hate this person.
We never fell out anyone as much while we were traveling as we did when we were trying to write a book.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you really love someone, don't do a freaking business venture with them, because you'll hate them.
But travel around Asia, it's great.
Travel around Asia, give your passport away to someone you don't know.
Yeah. I feel like that should be a podcast episode where we just sit down and talk about our favorite stories.
Oh, I think we should talk about the most dangerous situations we've put ourselves in to make people feel better about themselves, because we've been down.
Be like, Mom, don't listen to this
Mom,
one.
Mom, please listen to this. Yeah. Dad.
That's a good idea. I like that idea. Okay, you have to go to work now. I'm really sorry for you.
Work.
I feel like this was only like half an hour.
Yeah, it was like a
one. I'll get shorter.
Tips. A, B, C, D. Next one, it'll just be like 10 seconds.
Let's get changed to another one.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to our podcast. Give us some ratings on wherever you listen to this podcast, because it really, really, really helps us out. And I hope you enjoyed. If you have suggestions for our next podcast, we're always looking for them. We post them on Instagram sometimes. If you don't follow us already on Opero Paris. And
Pugs and Unicorns. Don't we have our Instagram for the podcast now?
Oh yeah, we do. And now we have an Instagram for Pugs and Unicorns called Pugs and Unicorns _ Check it out.
Thanks for listening. If anyone is still listening this far.
Bye.
Bye.